This is the WrestleBread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 162 of the WrestleBread Podcast. So we have a big-ass weekend coming up ahead of us with 3 events going on. We have Clash at the Castle on Saturday, Worlds Collide with NXT and NXT UK on Sunday afternoon, and All Out on Sunday evening. And it's a lot, especially this week. Kids starting back in school. My kids started at a new school, so I'm like right now taking them there, and having to wake up in the morning is like so exhausting because I work from home, so I don't have to wake up early for commute and all that other stuff. And it's been so good this summer of being able to wake up at 7 or 8 o'clock, and then just being able to kind of like relax, eat breakfast, stuff like that. And especially you us parents out there, when the kids have to go to school, even if you're working from home, it's just that rush in the morning because you wake them up in your head with enough time to get ready for school, but for some reason all activities take a lot longer. Like it takes 30 minutes to get dressed instead of like 5, even though the clothes are picked out the night before. Brushing the teeth, eating breakfast, walking, everything is just, and then you're rushing, and then it's just so tiring. So yeah, I'm glad that we had the 3-day weekend, just to breathe for a moment. And I'm also happy that football is coming back. My Sundays is going to be a lot more eventful again. Go Dallas Cowboys. If you don't know, I'm a Cowboys fan who lives in Philly. And yes, I'm still alive, and no, there are a lot more Dallas fans in Philly than you think there are. But I'm a football fan. I watch different teams. I play fantasy football. I'm more likely not going to play fantasy football this year because there's been so many trades, and I haven't been keeping up to who plays with who and this, that, and the third. Like, I didn't even realize that Russell Wilson no longer plays for the Seahawks. That's how behind I am right now with it. But getting back to wrestling, there has been a lot of rumors and a lot of things going on. First of all, and this came out very recently, that Bobby Fish contract had expired. There's a lot of different stories. I don't know which one is actually correct. Some are saying that his contract is going to expire in October and it will not be renewed. Some people are saying August 31st. I don't know. But as far as if that is true, I feel as though that was complete waste of a contract signing. I don't know if everyone in the Undisputed Elite is injured, or if it's just Adam Cole, or even if it's Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. You could at least have Bobby Fish wrestling on TV or something like that to at least keep things going. I mean, perfect example is when Britt Baker was injured, they kept her on TV to keep her rivalries going. She was cutting promos, things like that. You could at least had something like that going. I understand that, they were unable to participate in the trios tournament for All Out, but you could at least had something going. You could at least did like live from via satellite or something like that. But complete waste. It feels like that the only plan for the Undisputed Elite was for them to go against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and due to Adam Cole's injury, that plan got scrapped. But it feels like there was no backup plan. Instead, it was, I'll put you guys on the shelf, all 3 of you guys on the shelf right now, and concentrate on other things. Now, granted, it didn't really help Bobby Fish that he was sitting there and talking bad publicly about Tony Khan and the company and things like that. But just like what I always say about people, that the way they're booked in WWE, I'll say it here with AEW. You got to use people to their money potential. Like the money match that everyone was looking forward to as soon as Adam Cole and Red Dragon came in was them to feud with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And just because we're not getting that doesn't mean that the story still can't exist. You could have used Bobby Fish in some type of capacity. You could have had him feuding with one of the Young Bucks or something like that. Like, you could have done something else versus just not really seeing him on TV like that. There's also a lot, and there's a lot of now insiders are getting so much information about AEW now, especially the meeting that they had. And what blew my mind is not only did we get the details of the meeting, we knew who said what, the order that each person had spoke, that Tony Khan said something first, and then each person said something afterwards, and exactly what they said, and how everyone's reaction to this. And that blew my mind, because I was like, first of all, we didn't even know that something was even remotely wrong with Brodie Lee outside of an injury. All we heard was that he was injured, and that was it before his untimely death. Now, 2 years later, we're knowing every single detail that is happening, every single conversation that's going on backstage. And, common denominator is that there's a lot of these WWE people, former WWE people, that's coming over to AEW that has these hookups with these insiders and like to flap their gums. And it's like, not that I like have an issue, like I don't have the big issue of like, peeking behind the curtain type of thing, because I talk about the things that slips to these dirt sheets, but it's still like, now if it gives that feeling with people backstage that they gotta like step on eggshells because you don't know who is watching and who's going to leak what to the dirt sheets, especially if someone don't like you like that. They can immediately just talk to their friends at the dirt sheets and say and spread some really bad rumors about you. So we heard about what happened with Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara was looked in at a really bad light to the point that he had to put out a statement with his vlog and everything, and it's just like completely crazy. And like I said, this all didn't happen 2 years ago, especially during the pandemic where, everyone was around and backstage together, things like that. There were no fans. There was no really traveling or place to go. You pretty much stayed at one place and that was that. But now that we have this big roster, there's just like so much going on. And plus, like I said previously, it's now no longer fun to poke fun at WWE because now of all the changes that's going on that a lot of people like. Speaking about, poking fun at WWE and stuff like that, now there's little things that's slipping out. And, and I said this previously, that people need to take the rose-colored glasses off when it comes to Triple H, because he's not going to do everything perfect and everything isn't going to change overnight. So recently, the past SmackDown, there was the women's tag team tournament. It came to the finals with Io Sky and Dakota Kai going against Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah. And surprisingly, Raquel and Aaliyah had won the title, which I was happy for them. Is Aaliyah like, putting on 5-star matches and stuff like that? No, but it gives newer faces a bit of a bigger chance. And plus, on top of that, Dakota Kai and Io Sky and Bayley, they don't necessarily need titles in order to have a hot feud. Them having this little feud with Bianca and Alexa and Asuka and potentially any other feuds down the line, those three are good enough that they do not need the titles. As far as Raquel and Aaliyah, kind of putting them over on the roster, especially with not really so much as their booking before Triple H had gotten in charge of creative, but they kind of just need a bit of a reset. I mean, Aaliyah has pretty much been like, kind of like over to the side. She was like getting beaten up. I think it was Ronda or Shayna. I forgot who it was that she like would come in. Oh, it was Lacey Evans that she would stand in the ring and get like punched in her face, and then that be that. So now we have new titles, and now people are not happy about it because they wanted it to be Io Sky and Dakota Kai, and it's just like, just wait it out, just let it play out. Let's see what is going to happen. It's not like Triple H kind of don't know what he's doing. I kind of have some type of faith that this may go into a better direction. especially for how much that Raquel has been getting cheered in a lot of different cities. She's very popular as a face, which I really kind of didn't expect to happen, because I thought as though she would be a lot better as a heel, and I didn't understand her being booked as a face, but it has completely worked. So I was completely wrong on that thought as well. And so, people are now complaining because, Aaliyah has a title, this, that, and the third. And it's like, it is what it is. Who knows? They may show up at Clash of the Castle and have it dropped to Sasha and Naomi. And their title reign will only be for a couple of days. We don't know what's going to happen. But obviously, if the ultimate decision is for Naomi and Sasha Banks to get the titles back, it would kind of be a bit of a waste to give it to Io Sky and Dakota Kai if they're going to be dropping it in a very short period of time anyway, which is an issue that I have with something that's going on in AEW, which I will talk about a little later. So let me get into predictions, because there is a lot of matches that's going on this weekend, and I'm going to kind of tie in that things that's been happening the past week into it as well. So starting off with Worlds Collide, as we saw, the NXT UK has been invading NXT 2.0, and the announcement has come out that NXT UK will now turn into NXT Europe. And it seems like everyone from the UK may be going over to NXT 2.0, or they may be staying for NXT Europe. I didn't really read into a lot of details as far as what's going on with that. So going into Worlds Collide, now I didn't really watch a lot of NXT 2.0 leading up to this, and I admit there's not a lot of names that I know on this, so I'll just kind of give my predictions, just kind of based off what I've seen previously from these people and what I think may happen. Now, as far as with NXT 2.0, it's very interesting to see how this is going to turn out now that Triple H is in control creative. If he is going to concentrate on the main roster as far as recouping a lot of things that's going on with the NXT that happened in NXT Black and Gold, which we kind of see of him bringing back a lot of people who got released from the NXT Black and Gold era and putting them on the main roster. So it pretty much could be that NXT 2.0 could pretty much still be their developmental program, that they're not going to revert it back to what it used to be as well. So starting off, we have to unify, and this is obviously they're getting rid of the NXT UK Championships because they're unifying every single title with the NXT 2.0 version. So to unify the NXT and NXT UK Tag Team Championships, we have the Creed Brothers versus Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs versus Gallus versus Pretty Deadly. I like the rise of the Creed Brothers. They weren't really my favorite starting out, but the way that they wrestle, I felt as though they were very generic, very creative wrestler from WWE 2K. And they're talented in the ring, but it just felt like there was just something missing from them. But since they introduced the story of, wanting to win the title from their dad, stuff like that, very likable. Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, if I remember correctly, are the two guys that like to fight in the bar, and it seems like they have a woman manager with them as well. Gallus is from NXT UK. I don't know too much about them, but when I saw the Invasion episode of the when I saw NXT Heatwave, and that was the Invasion of NXT UK, they looked pretty menacing as well. Pretty Deadly, I know of. I didn't really watch them in the ring like that, but I do know that they were tag team champions prior to the Creed Brothers. I'm actually going to go with the Creed Brothers on this one. I feel as though that, I know that Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs are the current NXT UK titles. And I believe Gallus used to be NXT UK champion. And of course, Pretty Deadly was former NXT 2.0 champions as well. But I'm going to go with the Creed Bros here to unify the titles. And I think that will just start a feud with one of the other teams as well. You could easily have them going against Pretty Deadly and have Jensen and Briggs just going against Gallus, or the Creed Brothers going against Gallus and Jensen and Briggs going against Pretty Deadly as well. I feel as though it can go pretty much either way, but I'm officially going to go with the Creed Brothers on this one. So next up, we have Kayden Carter and Katana Chance going against Doudrop and Nikki ASH for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. I'm going to say that the champions are going to retain here. Listen, I love Piper and, Nikki Cross, but I don't see them winning this NXT Tag Team Championship. I'll be very surprised if they win it, but I don't see it happening right now. I think they're going to still remain mainly on the main roster, but I don't know what the plans is going to be for it. It's very possible that Doudrop may get her name back. They may change up Nikki ASH gimmick maybe, but it was really over with the kids, but it's just, I felt like they could have done a lot more with her, sell capes, sell masks and stuff like that. Like you could have had, it felt as though you could have had something going for the kids, and even I'm sure there are going to be some adults that will want to wear a cape and mask around the arenas as well too. So next up, we have Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet for the NXT North American Championship. I feel like this is going to be the match of the night, because it's Ricochet. I feel as though it's going to go all out for, no pun intended, but I think he's going to go all out for this match, and Carmelo Hayes just pretty much shows that he can hang with the best of them. I'm going to say he's going to retain as well. So far I got all champions, well, NXT champions retaining, but I really don't see Ricochet getting the NXT North American Championship. I mean, if he does, then obviously they're going to put him into NXT for right now, kind of what they kind of did with Apollo Crews, where he went down to NXT to kind of like, get a bit of a restart creatively as well. But I think Carmelo Hayes is going to retain, probably with the help of Trick Williams. But I don't see Ricochet winning here. Next up, to unify the NXT and NXT UK Women's Championship, we have Mandy Rose versus Meiko, Satomura, and Blair Davenport. Now, I've heard the name Blair Davenport. Meiko, of course, is the NXT UK Women's Championship. Mandy Rose is the NXT Championship. I don't know. Like, I really can see Mandy, I don't know. I feel like Mandy Rose could lose here and Toxic Attraction can go up to the main roster. However, Toxic Attraction is such a main stage in NXT 2.0 because a lot of the other women are just not ready for that spot just yet. But this is like the perfect example for Mandy Rose to lose here without getting pinned, because she's been champion for a very long time and has pretty much beaten everyone. So her going against two people who she never really faced before, like, it could definitely be a bit of a surprise for her to lose. Like, even I don't know who she's like kind of feuding with. I know she recently went against Zoe Starks, but someone could easily come into interfere in this match and cost Mandy the title, especially since we're unifying the titles. I'm going to be bold and say Meiko is going to win here, retain her title, and unify the NXT title, and maybe start a feud between Mandy Rose and Blair Davenport. I think that Meiko could pin Blair Davenport so that it kind of protects Mandy Rose from not getting pinned, since she's been dominant for so long. And if there is an interference, that maybe whoever interferes will start a feud with Mandy as well. Because I feel as though Meiko, I don't know how long she's held the title in NXT UK, but I do know she's been in wrestling for a very long time. She is like, I don't even know how many years, but definitely over 10 years I believe definitely over 10 years in wrestling as well. And then finally, to unify the NXT and NXT UK Championship, we have Bron Breakker versus Taylor Bate. Bron Breakker really needs to be up on the main roster. I'm hoping that this is their chance to do it, because they definitely have a lot of men who are able to carry the NXT 2.0 brand beyond him. But I don't know, it just felt like there were so many times that they could have pulled the trigger on him. And it also seems like they're starting a feud between him and Apollo Crews, because he's been eyeing up the championship as well. He could easily come in and interfere or something like that. But I don't know. I'm gonna be bold too and say that Taylor Bate wins here. I just feel like NXT 2.0 kind of just needs not really a reset, but just a I don't know, just like a new, not really a reset, but like we need new champions. We need new faces at the top. It's been Bron Breakker this whole time. It's been Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction this whole time. And I feel as though they need to be on the main roster. Now, it's a bit, like I said, it's a bit difficult as far as with Mandy Rose because there's not a lot of women to be able to, there's not a lot of women who are ready yet to really like take the mantle as champion. But I feel as though with the introduction now of NXT UK, especially the women from NXT UK, you can kind of do it here, especially if they really want it to be more of a developmental, but they're kind of like stuck in a hard place because they are on primetime TV. So you can't really be like 100% developmental or else people are not going to really tune in to really watch it. So I'm going to go with Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate's here to win and unify the two titles, and maybe they'll start a rematch between them two, or this could turn into a triple threat between them two and Apollo Crews. But I don't know. I just feel like it's just time for a change here. So going into, and I'm gonna leave All Out last because it's like 20 damn matches on the card, and I'm gonna go into Clash at the Castle. So starting out, we have Rey Mysterio and Edge going against Judgment Day with Dominic and Rhea Ripley ringside. There's been so many hints, like not really hints, but like little things that shows that Dominic could turn here. And he's such, I don't know, he's such a baby face and like he don't really show that he has the personality to really pull off a heel well. But him being teamed up with his dad has not done him any favors. He's been getting his ass whipped through every single feud they has had so far, and his dad had to come to the rescue. So I'm hoping that with Rey deciding to go with Edge here to go against Judgment Day, pretty much telling him, son, he said he needs someone to hold his back, but what he pretty much was saying, like, I need someone who won't get their ass whipped and then have to come to their rescue. Of course, more likely, Rhea Ripley is going to do something with Dominic. That has been, like, the biggest thing on social media so far with this feud, especially with what we've seen of Rhea being able to convince Dominic to not hit her with the kendo stick. And it feels like they're going to have him join the Judgment Day. I like the Judgment Day, but I don't really like the Judgment Day, if that makes sense. Like, the Judgment Day was at its peak when Edge was the leader. And now that Finn Balor is the leader, it feels like it kind of like took a couple of steps back. I mean, really cool entrance right now. Rhea Ripley, of course, looking cool. And, we got Damian Priest looking cool as well. But I don't know. I feel like there's definitely something missing with Judgment Day now. I don't know if maybe they need to add members to this or something like that. But I don't know. A lot of people, of course, are making the comparisons between Judgment Day and House of Black. But it is what it is. Like, House of Black is pretty much like you can point to the Brood or even the Wyatt family as well. So nothing is like truly 100% original in wrestling. So it is what it is. But I'm going to go, I want to go with Judgment Day because I feel as though that it could be Dominic who turns, but I think Edge and Rey is going to win here, and then whatever happens is actually going to happen after the match. But I'm going to go with Edge and Rey here to kind of like complete this stage of the feud with them in Judgment Day. And I think this is going to lead to a one-on-one match between Edge and Finn Balor a little bit down the line, and then Rey and Dominic. So I feel as though this stage of the feud with, Rey and Edge and Dominic collectively going against the Judgment Day is going to come to an end. And then we're going to get the actual feuds that this is leading to. This won't last, of course, until Royal Rumble. So I think this feud is going to eventually end by that time. But I think we're going to actually lead to Edge and Finn versus Rey and Dominic. Next up, For the Intercontinental Championship, we have Gunther and Red, who hates America, versus Sheamus. And really good promo that Sheamus had cut when he was standing toe to toe against Gunther. Butch, formerly known as Pete Dunne, walking around like Scrappy Doo, just like like a little chihuahua, like let me at him the whole time. It was funny, but it was just like slightly distracting, and it was like kind of taking away from the seriousness that was going on between Gunther and Sheamus, because Gunther and Sheamus are very hard-hitting wrestlers. So especially this would have been like 20 times better if it was Walter versus Sheamus. I know Gunther and Walter are kind of like the same, but Walter is so much more menacing than Gunther. So like I feel as though Gunther versus Sheamus should be like a completely like very serious feud, as almost as serious as we have with Riddle and Seth Rollins. But with Butch, having to be held back during the entire portion of this segment was a bit distracting. But for here, I feel as though, I don't know, this could easily kind of go into a, reemergence of the of Imperium versus I forgot Sheamus's group name, but Sheamus, Ridge, and Butch as well. But I don't know. I'm going to actually go with Gunther retaining his title. I think this is going to be a pretty good match, and I think Sheamus' chest is going to be as red as a tomato after this. But I think this is definitely going to be a hard-hitting match. So next up, we have Matt Riddle, his name is now Matt Riddle, versus Seth Rollins. I don't know if we're still calling him Seth freaking Rollins or if it's just going to be Seth Rollins. But whoa, the way that this feud has completely like escalated on Raw here. I mean, tiptoeing from the PG to the PG-14, whereas though AEW seems like they're going from PG-14 to PG. Not exactly PG, but just a little bit. But yeah, the sit-down interview with these two, with Matt Riddle saying that the only man in your marriage is Becky Lynch, and then Seth Rollins with and I kind of like that aspect, where it's after the interview, they kind of had like footage still afterwards, with Seth Rollins telling Riddle, like, let's talk about your family. Oh no, you don't have one because your wife divorced you and took your kids from your bitch ass. And then of course Riddle going all crazy, saying where I'ma fuck you up and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh snap, let me grab some popcorn and check this out. So with this level of a build up, this match better be fire. Like, I really hate when we get a really good build up feud and then the match is crappy, or if we get a very crappy feud and then the match is like complete fire, because it's like, yo, you got to keep the same energy. So I'm hoping, I'm very sure this match is going to be really good. And hopefully, like, truthfully, this match should end in some type of DQ. Unless they add a no DQ stipulation to this feud can continue on to a no DQ or even Hell in a Cell. This is the perfect feud to end with a Hell in a Cell or something like that. Like, definitely the perfect type of feud that escalates naturally to the Hell in a Cell. Not that, oh, we're going to go against each other, let's immediately go for Hell in a Cell. No, don't work like that. So, my opinion, I think this match should end in a disqualification. It should end in disqualification for how tense these two have been going back and forth with the words and stuff like that. But if we're going to say there's going to be an actual winner, I'm actually going to go with Seth Rollins here. And I think that, it's going to continue the feud. Because, we constantly have Seth Rollins mentioning how he's going to go after the title, but he has to get rid of Riddle first. So I think, I think with Seth Rollins winning, it'll continue the feud, even though he's saying he's going to go after the title after he's done with Riddle. But I think Riddle is going to keep it going or something like that. Or it could be easily Riddle winning and then Seth Rollins getting pissed off and going to want another one. But I think once Riddle wins here, that will kind of like settle the feud. But then again, this is Papa H territory. This can go in 20 different ways. We can get a run-in interference from someone completely different, and then this turns to a triple threat type of situation. Who knows? Nothing is as it seems, and that's what kind of makes it exciting, because you don't know which way things will go. Like, they could easily go with Riddle, or they could easily go with Seth Rollins. And I love it when it's this type of way, because you could just take a guess and give your reasoning, but you mainly have no choice but to sit back and watch the match happen. But I'm going to go officially with Seth Rollins, even though I think it could be a notice. I think it could be easily no DQ with Riddle winning, because actually DQ with caused by Riddle with Seth Rollins getting the official win. I think that could easily go that way, because especially with how intense Riddle was with their last conversation, this could easily be Riddle getting disqualified because of how much he want to whoop Seth Rollins' ass. I mean, once somebody says that to you, you gotta do more than throw hands. Not saying gotta, involve guns or anything like that, but you definitely gotta take a chair to someone's back. So next up, we have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka going against Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. I don't know. I'm not sure why Bianca isn't defending her title with this one, but I get it. You want to promote the trio of Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. And, it's cool to see Alexa Bliss and Asuka, kind of going back to her bit of original roots with, the Asuka killer type of situation. And I think here, I don't know, like, this could, because it's Bianca Belair is in a trios match, this can go either way with Bayley and her squad winning to kind of like put them over a little more. It would kind of be a bit of a waste, in my opinion, if Bianca and them wins this, because then it's like it kind of like kills a bit of the momentum that Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky have caused, especially the fact that they just lost the tournament due to a bit of like interference from Bianca and them. So I'm actually going to go with Bayley and her squad to win here, and I think this is going to continue on the feud between Bayley and Bianca Belair, and I think they're going to keep going back and forth, of course, until Becky comes back, or unless we get another swerve and have Charlotte appear as well, or I don't know. I feel like there's somebody that's coming that's going to interrupt this match. That's how we are right now with WWE. Like, we can get Candice running in out of nowhere with Baby Quill to interfere in this match. Who knows? But I'm going to officially go with Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky to win this. So next up for the SmackDown Women's Championship, we have Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. And I might add, this is the Shayna Baszler that I wanted on the main roster this whole time. Listen, I know people like Liv Morgan, and I'm happy that Liv Morgan got her title, but I'm ready for Shayna Baszler. I am ready for Shayna Baszler to come through, because I feel as though it'll be very interesting if Shayna wins the title here, and this will lead to a feud between her and Ronda. Now that would be money right there, to have a feud between these two. Definitely could write itself as well. I feel like they're going to pull off some BS here, honestly speaking, and have Liv Morgan somehow win. It just really, I forget who it was back in the day, but it was someone who would win by like dumb luck, and they would win matches that way. Like, I could have sworn I remembered they got like hit with a finisher or something like that, and they kind of fell back, and they fell and their head hit the crotch. If you remember what match I'm talking about, let me know in the comments or tweet at me. But I could have sworn there was a wrestler back in the day that had like straight up dumb luck and will win matches without technically winning matches. I remember that spot vividly, but I completely forgot who it was. It could have been Santino Marella. It could have been him, but I'm not sure. But I remember definitely it was someone who would win with like dumb luck type of situation. And they climbed the ladder from there. that's how I kind of feel that they're doing with Liv Morgan, is her winning with this dumb luck, especially the spot where Shayna Baszler looked like she was going to put her through the table, and then Liv Morgan like somehow reversed it in like a very weird way and put Shayna through the table. And especially with her beating Ronda Rousey the way that she did. I don't know, I feel like that's what we're doing here. And they could easily have Liv Morgan retained here by some type of dumb luck, but I want Shayna Baszler to win. I am ready for Shayna Baszler to win. And then finally, at Clash at the Castle, we have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Now, I don't know, it seems like the Usos and Paul Heyman may be not at ringside, but of course the Usos may come in. But yo, the marketing for this match, they definitely are making it seem like Drew McIntyre may win here. Especially the fact that we are overseas, and of course Drew McIntyre is the first, I think the first British person to win that title. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They're definitely making it seem like he has a chance, just like Jim Carrey said. So you're telling me there's a chance? I don't know. Like, I'm very interested to see like what is the end game with Roman Reigns, and I talked about this before in a previous episode. Is he going to carry these titles all the way until the WrestleMania or something like that? Or are they going to have him drop the titles at some point? Like I said, Roman Reigns is good enough that he doesn't necessarily really need the titles in there in order to be put over. The titles just kind of like amplify the personality of the tribal chief and everything, and the dominance of the tribal chief. But it's kind of weird that we are having this celebration for him on Friday before this pay-per-view, and it kind of makes me think he may lose the titles here. I don't know. Like, it will be completely wild. I feel like if Drew McIntyre wins here, it'll be completely wild. It'll be a shock factor. But that place is going to explode with his win. Or, if Roman Reigns wins here, of course the place will boo him, which they're kind of supposed to do. But I don't know. It's just like very interesting that we have this, and then the promo package and the vignettes and everything of Drew McIntyre and his rise, how he started in WWE and then he got let go and his struggles and things like that. And I'm sitting here like, yo, y'all really like painting the picture of him winning the title. And truthfully, it would kind of be a cool moment because he didn't get his WrestleMania moment technically in front of fans. He got his moment at the Royal Rumble, of course, and then nothing really happened. He didn't really get a moment after that because, of course, of the pandemic, and he was pretty much the pandemic champion. Then he carried the title, without fans and things like that. And then pretty much once the fans kind of came back, that's when he lost the title. So, I guess if they want to recreate and give him his Mania moment, quote unquote, this would be like the perfect opportunity to do that. But it's like, what are we doing here with, Roman the titles? And then there's rumors, of course, that the Triple H is thinking of redesigning the titles. And if he's actually planning on doing that, it kind of, normally that happens whenever there is a new champion. So there's a couple of people I know who are really big Roman Reigns fans that may not like what I'm about to say next, but I think Drew McIntyre is going to win this one. I'm going to do it. I'm going to throw it out there. And if Roman Reigns retains, it'd be that. And I'm guessing it'll be because of the Usos running in or something like that. I mean, if the Usos run in, it's very possible that someone else may run in as well. But I think that might be what happened. Like, of course, then there's the rumor that Braun Strowman is coming back. I know a lot of people are not happy with it, especially because of what he did after he left WWE. But I was shocked that he got let go because he was he was in the title picture of a lot. So I was very surprised that he got let go. So if he's coming back, it's very possible that he could be coming back, interfere in this match, and cost Roman the title, and then it'll be the feud between Roman and Braun Strowman. It's very possible, you know. But I'm officially gonna go with Drew McIntyre on this one. Sorry to say to those who are, Tribal Chief fans, and I know that's the Tribal Chief, and I acknowledge Roman Reigns, but I'm also acknowledging that Roman Reigns may be losing his titles here as well. So going into All Out, which is going to last at least 5 hours here, with them having 3 matches on the pre-show and then 11 matches on the card for a total, 9 matches on or 8 matches on the card for it's 11 matches on the card for a total of 14 matches. We're about to watch 14 matches in, 4 or 5 hours or something like that. I guess that's why they decided to do this on a Sunday for those of us who are lucky enough to have off on Monday. But there are some of those out there that are not lucky enough to have off on Monday. And this is going to be a very brutal thing to watch. And I'm very sure, the card is very stacked. And I'm very sure there may be a match on here that may not live up to expectations. But I think we're safe to say that All Out is their WrestleMania here, because they always throw on all these matches during All Out. Of course, this was the appearance of Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole as well. So it's safe to say that, this is y'all WrestleMania here. Even though Double or Nothing was the first pay-per-view that they did, All Out, I feel like, is their WrestleMania. So let's go through the card. So first off, let's go through the pre-show matches. We have for the FTW Championship, Hook going against Angelo Parker. For the FTW Championship that Hook has, of course, Hook is going to retain. It's a matter of how long the match is going to be for, not so much as to, if Hook is going to win, but I'm going to go with Hook here on this one. Next up, we have Eddie Kingston versus Tomohiro Ishii. Listen, I love Eddie Kingston's promo skills. I really do. But I don't know, it's just like such a disconnect for me when he gets into the ring. The way that he wrestles don't really flow with people that he is in the ring with. That makes sense. He wrestles very old school, and sometimes it doesn't really gel well with people of different wrestling styles. I don't know how this match is going to turn out to be. This may be a bit of a shorter match. I don't expect this to be like, match of the night or anything like that. I'm actually going to go with Ishii on this one. I think, Eddie Kingston's really good, but he gives me the Bray Wyatt vibes of the person who cuts the great promos, but then get into the ring and loses. So I'm going to officially go with Ishii on this one. Plus this match, I know wins and losses matter in AEW, but I don't think Eddie Kingston here losing is going to really bring his stock down that low. So then we have the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. We have Pac versus Kip Sabian, which people kind of figured this was going to lead up to anyway, with Kip sitting on the sideline, which I thought was very strange that he was over there for that long. I know that he was injured, but kind of a way to kind of keep him there, but they really didn't, mention him until literally 2-3 weeks ago. And he's been standing there on the sidelines for probably the past 3 years at this point. I think this is going to be a good match. I'm interested to see how Kip is going to be after being away for so long, if there's going to be any type of rust or something like that. But I'm going to go with Pac retaining here. I love Pac. I think he's going to be so good in this match. And I think he's going to have a bit of a lengthy reign with the Atlantic Championship. I know that AEW loves to play hot potato with the other titles, like the what's the other title? The TNT Championship, not the TBS, but the TNT Championship and the tag team titles from time to time. They kind of play a little bit of hot potato, but I don't think they're going to do it too much with this one. Next up, we have the House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. The booking of this feud between these guys was a bit off to me. Like, we had Malachi Black spew the mist into Sting and Miro's eyes, and it made it seem like Miro was going to turn. The funny part of people appearing in Miro's promos, we had Julia Black that says something to him, and Miro's pretty much like, bitch, get away from me, I'm married. And then we had Sting and Darby Allin appearing in Miro's promo as well, and he was wearing glasses, so it made it seem like the mist was going to take effect on him and stuff like that. I just don't know what the end game is really with House of Black. They started off very dominant, and then, of course, with Malachi Black getting injured, stuff like that, like a very serious injury. We had Brody King, who kind of went off, and I don't know if Buddy Matthews was injured as well, because he wasn't really seen that much on TV as much either. But, I don't know, I'm gonna go, like, this could go either way. Of course, the feel-good story will have Darby, Sting, and Miro winning, but I'm actually gonna go with House of Black here. I think something is up with Miro, and I think he may turn on Darby and Sting, and then it would be the feud versus Miro and Darby Allin again, because Darby Allin kind of needs, he was feuding with Brody King for a while, but I think that we definitely need we need a bit of spice here. I need Miro to, kind of get back to his roots. He could still be the Redeemer or whatnot, but I need him to kind of like, I need more. We need more from Miro. He needs to be that powerhouse that he was, especially when he first started. After the best man thing. When he kind of went to the Redeemer, he won the TNT Championship. I need that guy back. Speaking of Powerhouse, we have up next Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks. I love Ricky Starks. I think Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks definitely have not really grown on me, because I liked Ricky Starks from the get-go ever since I saw him in NWA. But Powerhouse Hobbs definitely had grown on me. I wasn't that big of a fan of him. And then the more and more I've seen him, I definitely seen a lot of potential with him. I think I'm going to have Ricky Starks win here. I think this will be the perfect opportunity for the babyface to win here. It would be very easy for technically Powerhouse Hobbs should dominate Ricky Starks. But I think that Ricky Starks will find a way to counteract the strength of Powerhouse Hobbs and pull off a win. Next up, we have Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy, the feud of the past month, basically, with the way that they've been going forth. First of all, like I said previously, that's not Jungle Boy, that's Jungle Teen. That is a damn teenager who realized that he could start cursing, who realized that, he's a bad boy trying to commit crime. People are still not talking about the fact that Jungle Boy just had attempted murder, vehicular homicide, by trying to run over not only Christian Cage, but Tony Schiavone with the car as well. A lot of back and forth between these two guys. I'm expecting for this match to be like as impactful, like as back and forth as like their feud. But I don't think we're going to really get that much here. I think Christian is going to do good in this match. I'm not 100% sure about Jungle Boy. Now, I'm not saying that Jungle Boy isn't good in the ring. We've seen it when before Christian Cage came into the ring. It felt like he was promised to get a title shot until, of course, Christian Cage showed up. I really like Christian Cage in this feud. Of course, he has been so good in the with this, asshole heel that he's been doing. But I think this may be the end of this feud, and I'm going to go with Jungle Boy on this one. I don't know where Christian Cage is going to go from here, because, whenever there is a very hot feud, it's just like you kind of don't know what's going to happen once the feud ends. Like, I don't know where we're going to go from here between these two. I'm guessing that Jungle Teen is going to go back with Luchasaurus, and they're going to go after the tag team titles, which I don't know about that. And then it's like, what happens with Christian Cage after this as well? Who knows? But I'm going to go with Jungle Boy on this one. I think this feud is going to be over. So next up, we have Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal, Chris Sabin, and Alex Shelley. The Motor City Machine Guns, which FTR versus them is going to be chef's kiss. And then we have Wardlow as well. You know, they keep saying Wardlow's world, and it reminds me of Elmo's world. Every time I hear that, I make that connection immediately. And of course, this is leading to the actual feud of Wardlow versus versus Jay Lethal, but it's going to go against that basketball guy. I keep forgetting his name eventually. I'm going to go, I don't know. I feel like this can go either way, especially with the fact that we got the Motor City Machine Guns here. Like, we can even have FTR turn on Wardlow because they lost or something like that. Like, booking can be a bit crazy with AEW sometimes. Like, I don't want Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley to lose, but I can definitely see the fact that they're here as a one-off of them losing here. I'm officially gonna go Wardlow and FTR for the champion, for Wardlow to continue this momentum against Jay Lethal and his squad. And I think you could easily have the basketball guy interfere here to cost them the title as well, which I don't know. That really kind of makes me want to sway my opinion. I'm going to sway my opinion. I'm going to say that Jay Lethal and Chris Sabin are going to win here due to an interference with the basketball guy. I keep forgetting the basketball guy's name, but I think he's going to interfere, and it's going to have Jay Lethal win the match here. So I'm going to officially change my pick to Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. So next up, we have the TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Athena. They really try to make it seem like Athena has a shot of winning the title here. And I know the shock factor would be for her to win the title. I feel like Chris Statlander was the person who's really supposed to be winning the title here. But due to her injury, they kind of decided to go with this. And I don't know. Like, I really like Jade Cargill. I am so biased when it comes to Jade Cargill. And I don't want her to lose the title. And I know eventually she has to lose the title. But it's just like, is these people worthy of beating Jade Cargill? And it just feels like that's kind of what they're building up here with Athena, for Athena to take the title from her. But I'm guessing that they were trying to do it with Chris Statlander first. So I'm going to, I don't know, I'm very biased. When I say I'm biased, I'm very biased. Like, I want to pick Jade Cargill here. But I'm actually going to go with Athena because it's just like, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to have that will beat Jade Cargill. And the fact that they continuously show Athena kind of like getting one over on Jade Cargill. And then, of course, there's the, I think her name's Layla or something like that, who is part of the baddies that Jade Cargill don't like. And she definitely talks down to her and stuff. And I think that could be used as far as helping Athena win. But I think Athena is going to win here. Oh, that hurts me. But I think first of all, Jade Cargill is so good enough. She don't really need a title. She just has the title very similar to Roman Reigns, just to show the dominance and everything like that too. But yeah, I'm going to have, I named for both of them to lose this weekend their titles. So I'm going to say Athena wins on this one, and then we continue the feud between Athena and Jade Cargill, or Jade Cargill to go against that chick that is part of the baddies as well. So next up we have for the ladder match Casino Battle Royal. No, the Casino ladder match for the AEW Championship shot. A shot at the AEW Championship. I can read, I swear. We have Claudio Castagnoli versus Rey Fenix versus Rush versus Dante Martin versus Andrade El Idolo versus Penta versus Wheeler Yuta and a Joker. This, like, and I know people are going to say it's possibly MJF, but this match screams a high flyers. So if MJF was to enter in this, it kind of won't really make sense as far as the dynamic that this match is building up to. because we have Claudio, who's of course super strong. He's just like, he's an alien. Rey Fenix, we know, is an alien. Rush, Dante Martin, Andrade, Penta, and even, Will Yuta as well. They're like high flyers. So it wouldn't really make sense for MJF to enter into this, for his old school wrestling style, to go against nothing but all high flyers. As far as who I think the Joker is, I have no idea. I don't know who it could be. I have no idea who it could be. It could definitely, whoever the Joker is, usually 9 times out of 10, that's who wins the match. And I don't know. Like, I feel like it could easily go to Andrade or Claudio, but Claudio is the Ring of Honor champion, so I don't think he's going to get the win here. I'm actually going to say the mystery opponent. I don't think it's a debut. I think it's definitely a return, but I can't think off the top of my head who is returning. Because he said that Adam Cole, I believe, is still injured. So I don't think it's going to be Adam Cole, even though that would be a nice surprise that it's actually Adam Cole and that's who goes to win it. But I'm just going to go whoever the mystery person is. If the mystery person ends up to be like somebody from New Japan, then I'm going to switch my pick to Andrade. If it's somebody from New Japan or even Ring of Honor or something like that, I'm switching my pick to Andrade. Andrade kind of needs something here. But I think this will definitely be, in my opinion, match of the night because Lucha Brothers are in it. I forgot Andrade and Rush team name in it, but they're in it. There's Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, who's from Philly, so of course I'm slightly biased with that too. And then Dante Martin, who I think he got, I don't know what is in his DNA, but he is unreal as well. I think he's an alien along with Rey Fenix too. But I think this is going to be definitely match of the night. I have no idea who the mystery opponent is going to be. I didn't read the dirt sheets or anything like that to get a feel of who it could be. I just want to go into this pay-per-view weekend completely blind. I already know about Braun Strowman coming back, but it is who it is. And then we have the AEW Trios Championship, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the winner of the Dark Order with Hangman Page and the Best Friends. So as of this recording, it's Friday morning. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm going to assume it's going to be Hangman Page and the Dark Order, just for that story of Hangman versus Kenny Omega again, and of course with the Young Bucks getting teamed up here. I would have wished if this was all completed by this time, because if Hangman and the Dark Order wins, you only get literally minutes of the feud between the Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. So I wish, like I said, I wish this would have been completed at least a week earlier, so we could have got a bit of a bigger feud between the final two teams, because it kind of feels like this is kind of like thrown together. Not really thrown together, but the feud would be thrown together at this point because there's no more TV time to promote this feud, which now that's why I think it will be Hangman Page and the Dark Order, because the feud is kind of in there itself. And I think the wild thing that's going to happen is that Hangman Page turns on Dark Order and then kind of joins Kenny and the Young Bucks, which probably, might not make sense, but I don't know. It might not make sense, but I think that's a possibility that could happen. Big swerve is that it's actually the Best Friends who wins, and then Hangman Page is the Joker in the ladder match. If Hangman Page is the Joker, then I'm going to stick with my pick of the mystery opponent. That would be a big swerve. However, it would definitely miss the point of having the Dark Order and Hangman Page going against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. That would be a very good story to tell in the ring versus having, let's have this spot fest type of situation. And I told you, I love spot fests. I also love matches that tell stories. I love technical matches. I just love good wrestling matches. And I feel as though Hangman Page and the Dark Order, that would be a good match, story match, I should say, as far as them going against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Whoever it is, truthfully, I'm still going to go with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks to win the trios titles, because they've been the dominant trio team in AEW since it started. It's always been the Elite of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So it kind of definitely will miss the shot. And I know they're VPs, stuff like that. People may get upset and things like that. But on paper, it makes the most sense. So I'm officially going with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks on this one. And I'm hoping, I wish that it would be, starting a feud with Adam Cole and Red Dragon, but with the news about Bobby Fish, it looks like we may not be getting it unless they decide to be that cold and replace Bobby Fish with someone else. Who knows? But I am interested to see what we're going to do from now on with these trios tag team titles. I mean, there are so many factions and tag teams, like it probably is more than a freaking high school. But I am excited to see the possible match that may be happening. Now for the AEW Tag Team Championship, Swerve and My Glory versus The Acclaim. Everyone loves The Acclaim, including yours truly. I also like Swerve and My Glory too. I think this is going to be a fun match as well. This is hard because I think The Acclaim needs their time to shine. But on top of that, like the Swerve and My Glory didn't really get a lot of time as far as, defending the titles. And like I said, they don't normally play as much hot potato with the main titles than they do with like the TNT title or even the I was about to say tag team titles. I mean, they don't really play a lot of hot potato with the tag team titles either. So I'm going to guess that maybe Swerve and My Glory will retain, but I'm going to go for a wild card here just to do it and go with the Acclaim on this one. I hope that they pull the trigger on the Acclaim. The Acclaim is very over, and I'm hoping that they'll do more than feud with the Gun Club. Maybe this will elevate their next feud as well, unless they continue to feud with Swerve and My Glory, or if they do Swerve versus Keith Lee from here on out, who knows. But I'm going to go with the Acclaimed on this one. And then for the interim AEW Women's Championship, we have Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. I can tell you who I don't want to win, and that's Britt Baker. She has been on top for the longest of time. It is time to give other women a chance and give other women time to shine as well. There have been, things about as far as with Thunder Rosa as well. Like the chase for her with the title has been a lot more exciting than her title reign, as it normally is with wrestling. But it just feels like she hasn't been put on TV. And it's the same thing when Hikaru Shida was champion as well. She wasn't really put on TV like that. Whereas though with Britt Baker, she was put on TV. She had backstage interviews and promos, stuff like that. She was sitting in the audience at one point too when she had the bad ankle. Like they kept her relevant throughout all of this. And I don't really feel like they're doing the same thing with Thunder Rosa. And there's people who have kind of starting like taking her side, but it's pretty much with the women's division anyway that don't really get a lot of love. There's like a rumor out there that Tony Khan mentioned that he wants to do an all women's pay-per-view, but it's like if you want to do an all women's pay-per-view, you have to really elevate the women's division a lot more than besides Britt Baker and even Jade Cargill. We gotta get some more names out there as well. I mean, Hikaru Shida was pretty popular as well at one point, but the fact that when she became champion, they pretty much made her nothing but the person sitting in the ringside watching during the pandemic really didn't do her any favors. For this match, though, this is going to be interim, so I'm going to actually go with Toni Storm here. I'm a fan of Jamie Hayter as well, but I think Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker would be better off as far as, going after a women's tag team championship than to have, either one of them win the championship. And while I really like Shida, I think that I don't think that it's her time to win the title. Be very, from left field if she was to win this, but I definitely feel like it will be Toni Storm who win this. And I'm hoping that if Toni Storm wins, that there'll be a little bit more elevation with the women's championship, aka women's division from here. Like I'm not asking for like a full hour women's matches or stuff like that, but at least book all the women as strong as you've been booking Britt Baker, to kind of get them over. Because Britt Baker went over over time. Yeah, she wasn't great in the ring, and I mentioned that, back when she kind of first started and Bria Priestley was feuding with her. But she has definitely grown since she turned heel, had that hardcore match, and has really grown into her own persona as well. And I'm hoping that that can be the same extended to the other women as well. Even Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill has been getting a lot better than when she first debuted. She's been getting trained by Bryan Danielson as well. And she has Stokely Hathaway as her manager at the point. She was gaining a lot of popularity, especially with the baddie section, with women, throwing her the picks every single way to nominate themselves for the baddie section. So I'm hoping that, with the Interim Women's Championship, it will kind of be a bit of a restart. Kind of like a clean slate from here on. We're going to do what we can to promote the women's division. But I'm going to go with Toni Storm on this one. Next up, we have Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. I feel like this could easily turn into a Daniel Garcia on the pole match, because this is a fight to see if Daniel Garcia will go with, the guy that he idolized growing up or his mentor, Chris Jericho. Is he a pro wrestler or is he a sports entertainer? Who knows? So I think this, Bryan Danielson is really good. Let's put that out there. Chris Jericho is good as well. He is good as far as character work and stuff like that. I'm going to say Bryan Danielson's going to win all the way. And I'm going to say he'll even win the heart of Daniel Garcia. I feel like this is like a love triangle or something like that going on. But I think Bryan Danielson's going to pull off the win here. I'll be kind of surprised if it's Chris Jericho. I feel like Bryan Danielson needs some type of momentum. Since he kind of got injured, he came back, he lost to Daniel Garcia, which people were upset about that, but now we're starting to understand the reason why, because Bryan Danielson can say, hey, you're a great pro wrestler, you even beat me, type of situation. So I think here we're going to have Bryan Danielson win, and then he's going to recruit Daniel Garcia to the Blackpool Combat Club, and that's going to turn into a faction just like the Pinnacle and the JAS and the Inner Circle as well. And then finally we get to the AEW Championship of Jon Moxley versus CM Punk. Now I am so confused with the booking of this feud, because this started out pretty hot. We had the back and forth promo with Moxley and Punk at first, and they started fighting each other and stuff like that. And then Tony Khan books the match for free on Dynamite. And I was very confused because I'm like, and I said this plenty of times before, and I'm going to say it again. Tony Khan does not have the luxury of WWE where you can give us the match for free and for people to automatically tune in the next week. We're paying $50 for this pay-per-view. Don't give us the match before the pay-per-view in order to add more hype to it, because you really have to justify the fact that why am I going to pay $50 for a match that we already seen? That was my thinking before the match even happened. I'm thinking maybe Punk is more hurt than expected. Maybe he'll drop the title to Moxley and then we'll turn around with a quick feud or something like that going on. So then a match happens. Punk went and did a kick to Jon Moxley's head, and then he grabbed the plant foot, and then from there it was pretty much Jon Moxley, and he squashed him in 5 minutes, which was shock factor. It was a good shock factor because I was like, okay, that was ballsy, because I thought that it was going to be CM Punk that was going to win here until the injuries part happened. I'm like, okay, this makes sense as to why you didn't want to do it at the pay-per-view. No point in charging people $50 if it isn't going to be a 100% type match because CM Punk is still hurt. So I'm like, okay, let's see what they're going to do from here and who Jon Moxley is going to face at All Out. And I'm fine with Jon Moxley winning here. Definitely a big surprise, very I felt as though kind of ballsy for this to happen. But I figured, okay, this happened because CM Punk is still injured. He's not 100%, and you don't want to pull this off. You don't want to do this at All Out where he could possibly still be injured type of situation. And then we get to Dynamite this past week where Jon Moxley, came out. They're in Chicago, of course, so he gets slightly booed. He comes out, talks shit about CM Punk. And then he has an open contract letter he puts in the middle of the ring for anyone to pick up. And then some guy, I don't know who it was at first, comes out, he picks up the paper, and then he walks into the back. So I'm like, okay. Now I didn't know who it was at first. I'm like, okay, maybe they'll turn into some type of tournament or something like that, or maybe a battle royale or something to give Jon Moxley an opponent at All Out. So then CM Punk comes out and he starts cutting the promo, and I was very confused about this, that he starts cutting the promo as if he's about to quit, because I'm like, what are we doing here? Then, he talks about how he makes it sound like he's about to quit wrestling and stuff like that. And then the same guy who actually, I forgot his name, but he's a friend of CM Punk. He comes out and he starts doing this hype promo to CM Punk. He dropped a few F-bombs, which apparently, allegedly, Discover Warner didn't really like. And then he hypes up Punk, and then Punk gets hyped. He walks through the crowd and stuff like that, and then he signs the contract, and now we have Jon Moxley versus CM Punk Part 2. And I was confused at first, and then I got pissed off, because I was like, what was the point of this? Like, we didn't need to pull off the match, to happen on Dynamite for free. We could have easily had a back and forth between them two, let the promos get escalated. If you want to sit there and make it like CM Punk is still injured, you could have did that, and then CM Punk could have came out this week with, foot 100%, and then he could have cut a promo against Jon Moxley again. But I was like, what was the point of doing this whole underdog thing with CM Punk? I can see if we were in Cleveland, I think it is, that Jon Moxley is from, where CM Punk will not get that, will not get any type of love. But we're in Chicago. They're going to cheer for CM Punk. If CM Punk walked out and said F the Bears, they'll still probably cheer for him. So I didn't understand why we needed this whole underdog story with CM Punk if we're going to be in Chicago anyway. He doesn't need the underdog story. It just kind of gave me Cody vibes, where it's just like, how much underdog story do we really need? CM Punk doesn't really need to be an underdog story. If anything, it should be Jon Moxley, because he's going into freaking Chicago to go against CM Punk. That's who really needs something to do to get the crowd backing behind him. But I didn't really get why we did all this with CM Punk, and I didn't really get why we got the match anyway. So you're telling us that, I mean, I don't know if this was for the hometown crowd or something like that, but it didn't do anything for us at home, because it's just like, this is a match that we kind of wanted to see anyway, especially after the promo and the fight and stuff like that. But I didn't get why you kind of gave it to us for free in a squash match. I guess to kind of like give us some type of hope that Jon Moxley can actually beat CM Punk. I don't know. Like, we didn't really need all this. That whole storyline portion of the past week was very unnecessary. So, as far as with this match, like, we kind of already know what's going to happen. I would love to know if Tony Khan got the balls to have CM Punk lose in Chicago. I mean, it's happened before. MJF had beaten CM Punk in Chicago, so it can happen. But however, this is for the title. So I don't know if this is going to happen again, especially with, Jon Moxley, squashing him in 5 minutes, and this is for the title and all the other stuff. So I'm going to go with CM Punk with this one. Especially after this whole babyface type of situation where he's like, oh, woe is me, and I don't know if I can do this anymore, guys, and, I need a hug, and where's my people? Do you guys still love me type of situation? Like, we didn't really need all that. And I figured since we did all that, you want to underdog CM Punk for whatever reason, even though this is going to be in Chicago. I'm guessing you're doing all this just for him to win, versus for Jon Moxley to do this. And then it doesn't seem like there's an additional stipulation to this either. Like, if this was going to be a squash match, and I figured with this going back and forth as much as it was, that this could have been a no-holds-barred type of situation, or whatever type of new name stipulation they was going to come up with. But it is what it is. So I'm going to go with CM Punk to win here. I hope for, prayers to the people who have to work on Monday, because this is going to be a very long weekend, a very long night as well. So, this episode is coming out very late because I wasn't 100% sure of everything that was going to be added to All Out, mainly. And then, of course, with Worlds Collide, I only saw it was 2 matches announced before the Tuesday episode of NXT, so I wanted to try to get as close as I can to the date so that I can at least have all the matches named beforehand. But yeah, I am excited though. I am excited for what's to come. I think this is going to be a good night of wrestling, a good weekend of wrestling, I should say. But, my goodness, All Out with 14 matches, that's freaking a lot. And it's like looking at the title, looking at the match card, there's going to be a bunch of matches that at least have to go at least 10 minutes or more. And with it being, 11 matches on the main card, some of these matches are going to maybe be somewhat of a squash match, but you really can't have a squash match unless we're talking like Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs or something like that. That could be a bit of a shorter match. I don't even know. I guess they're going to, suck the time out of Jade Cargill and Athena as well, but who knows. But I'm excited about it. I hope you're excited about it. We also got football coming up next week as well, so, it's about to be an interesting week as well. But that's it for the Russell Brett podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to Julian Rob Bass from Wrestling Court Podcast and TurnOfMinds.com. Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show. Chris from We Talk Next podcast, which is featured on the Keita and Jay Show. Nando and Larry from Half K podcast. Devin Afees from Clark Street Wrestling. And special shout outs to Straight Talk Wrestling, Circle Debate, and Top Rope Wrestling Talk as well. Coming up next week is going to be a lot of recaps for all the 24 hours worth of wrestling that we're about to watch. We have Raw coming up on Labor Day. Allegedly Braun Strowman is supposed to come back. He's not done with us, apparently. And then we're going to see this whole celebration with the Tribal Chief. And if he's going to make it out the weekend as champion, who knows? But be sure to hop on Twitter and follow me at JDC137. That's JAYDE, the letter C137. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at WrestleBread as well. Be sure to click the links in the bios for the YouTube, the Instagrams, the Facebook as well. Be sure to leave a review. Let me know your thoughts, how you feel about what's coming up this weekend. Are you excited for this weekend as well? And what match out of the 3 events are you looking forward to the most? For me, truthfully, I am kind of looking forward to that ladder match. I'm also looking forward to Riddle versus Seth Rollins. I'm looking forward to Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And I'm also actually, I am slightly interested in the World Trios match too, depending on who that would be. And I completely forgot Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet. So it's going to be a lot of good matches coming up as well. So leave a review. Let me know your thoughts. And until next time, guys, peace.